Welcome to Love Marlene 411, and it's the sip and chat time where we sip and we chat about important topics. And today will be no different. Um, I'm very excited to cover this topic, talking about body image. If you missed the previous episode, I'm definitely going to link it and pin it in the comment section below. So, welcome to all of you loves. How are you doing today on this Thursday? I appreciate all of you who are here and those who watch on the replay. If you could, please hit the subscribe button and like and share this out with somebody who definitely would appreciate this content. So today's sip and chat episode, we're going to be talking about body image and how it's different from your 20s to the mature age. Hey, Lovey, how are you doing? Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. I hope you're doing good. Yeah, today's sip and chat is talking about body image, and I just wanted you to know that each of you who have ever had an issue from your childhood to right now, today, let's have a conversation. Um, for those of you who, from any time period, we all went through things in our childhood. And I can say for myself, I went through a lot of traumatic things that I'm going to be talking about a little more in depth with my channel members, but I went through a lot of things in my childhood when it came to body image. And really, if we don't talk about the things that happened to us when we were younger, we're really going to be affected as we age. And I have to say that to all of you who have ever been told some negative things about, the way you look. And just for the record, for those who don't understand, calling somebody skinny is not a compliment. Just like calling somebody overweight is not nice either. Um, I suffered a lot from that, where I had some family members that were, had a little bit more to them, than I did. And it was always like they were giving me a compliment, like, look at you, you're so skinny. And that's not a compliment for a young girl who already had body complex issues. So with all of that being said, let me start talking about, your body image from the time you're in your 20s to a mature age. We definitely have to talk about it. So from the time you're in your 20s until you get to that mature age, we go through a lot of things. So you've passed through those teenage years and you're not as gullible as you used to be, but everybody still has a little bit of a complex in talking about, how they look. I think everybody wants to look their best. Everybody wants to feel accepted when it comes to how they look. Everybody wants everybody to look at them and to say nice things about them, but unfortunately, that does not always happen. And for myself as well, I went through a lot of things that it wasn't until my 20s that I actually realized that I had a lot of stuff that I needed to deal with mentally. And I'll tell you what I mean. By the time you get into your 20s, you're past that teenage year. So it's not really about the people who are your peers, like in school, but now it's the people who you're in a relationship with. These are the people that, like you're more focused on the one that you're in a relationship with, how you look to your workmates, and how you start developing your own ideas about how do I look to myself? How do I think about myself? What is my self-awareness? Am I happy with myself the way that I look? And I'm not talking about going by what, social media or the entertainment world or who other people think that you should look like. But for myself, for a long time, I had a lot of problems talking about how I looked because I've never been the person who had the flat stomach and you know, you know, a shapely body, but just a thin person. I've always been a slim person. And if you don't look like everybody else, it's like it affects you in your dealings with other people because you look at other people and you feel like something is wrong with you because you're not shaped like them or whatever the case may be. And it's not true at all. Let's welcome puzzle pieces to the show.
You can call me Nexi. It's easier for
Okay.
everybody.
Okay. I'll call you Nexie.
Hi, Marlene. How you doing?
Hi, how are you doing?
Whew.
Welcome.
I'm telling you, it's been quite a day for me. But continue on. I'll listen and then I'll go.
Okay. Yeah, I was just saying that, for the issues that I was having, in my 20s, because you're past the teenage years. So now it's about how you seem to who you're in a relationship with, how you seem to coworkers. It's more focused on that, whereas before in your teen years, it was so focused on what do my peers think, and now it's more like what does the opposite sex think about how I look, and how do I look to my coworkers, and then also what do I think about myself. And it can be a little bit complicated because you may not look like other people, you may not look like the people in the magazines, most people don't. So I want to talk about a little bit about that, about how we should have a positive thoughts about our own self and a realistic one, because I can say for myself, I never have had the the flat, the what is it, the six pack abs on my stomach. I've always had some sort of a stomach, some kangaroo pouch, you you could say. So I've always had a little bit of a complex when it comes to that, but that's real.
It is, and same here, Marlene. I've never had the. I have an 8 pack, or maybe you can say a 12 pack, but it's not of muscle. It's not of muscle. It's not defined. I think that's a very important. This is a very important topic. As women, especially in coming from another country, right? My family is from Central America, so there's always that sense that you have to be this, like, perfect image, for people, or people won't marry you, right? They always have that stigma that
Right.
you have to have, and so those things, even though they don't say them to you per se in your face, you hear them being said about somebody else's daughter, and
Hmm.
that stays in you. So I haven't had, I was also very slim, very slender, um and I didn't fit, any of the molds on magazines or the runways or anything like that, because I'm a short person. So, but I was very slim, and there's no when you have no curves, people make fun of you, right? They poke fun of you. So,
Hmm.
although the body image of mine, I think that even now, I think is still. I mean, it's not as it was when I was in my 20s, but I think it's still there. The little subconscious about sometimes what I wear, or do I look good on this, or am I too big? You know what I mean, like those things like that. It stays with us. So I don't know
Yes.
if
Yes.
I'm making sense.
Oh, you're making a lot of sense because I think we're having the sort of conversation that most women would never have, Uh, I feel very vulnerable right now. And it's so important to allow yourself to be vulnerable and to let other people know it's okay to be vulnerable. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have a perfect body. You don't have to have the image like those who are on the TV or on the magazines. Because, I'll say something too that we don't want to admit. Some people, they pay a lot of money to get their bodies that way, either through some plastic surgery or some other things. But that's another topic for another day. But yeah, so they pay money and they can do certain things that the average regular person cannot do. So, how we are, how you're born, I just want to spread some of that body positivity that I think when you're younger, you don't really know that that's even something positive possible because of what other people may say to you, and you're very kind of insecure and still trying to find out what you are.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, don't. And I know a lot of people pay, and this is somebody coming from working in the medical field, right? Yeah, they pay a lot of money. Yeah, they can get their bodies this shape or that shape, but we know what happens, right, Marlene? In the
Yes.
process of getting those bodies. So the fear of going through that,
Mhm.
I'm okay. So it puts us into that dilemma. Okay, I know I would love to get, like a little suction here and there. I would like to get that shape. I would like to do this. I would like to add that. I would like to take off here. But when you start realizing that you're gonna pay all this money, but in reality, the only thing you have to do is work on you, work on the inside, work from the inside out.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah, yeah, and I can say that I think when I was 20 years old, let's go back in time if I can even remember. When I was 20 years old, and now the age that I am now, I wish that I could go back and get that body again. And I used to be so self-conscious and worried, and boy, I would do anything to get that 20-year-old
thank
body
you,
back.
Marlene. Marlene, I have to butt in here. I have to interrupt because now, if I could go back, okay, to that body and tell that person, you are beautiful. You have the best body ever. Look, in 20 years, that thing is going to be gone.
It's going to be at some additional rolls and biscuits.
Enjoy it while you can, sister. No, seriously, like if I could go back and say, you are perfect. Listen, you're
Mhm.
perfect. You have no extra anything hanging like it will be in 20 years.
Yeah, hanging down to your knees. Is that
Look, you can,
TMI? Oh, well, whatever.
hey, wait, you can button your pants. Yeah, you're going to be buying an elastic pretty soon.
Yep.
That button still goes on. Yeah, you're not going to want those anymore later on in like 20 years. So enjoy this body. But then again, because of all the negativity, right, Marlene, that we were surrounded
Hmm.
at that particular time, because right now times are changing. I've seen girls that that are very comfortable with their bodies, like no matter what, they're very confident, they're very, very confident, and I admire them. I wish I was that confident, right? I wish I had those
Hmm.
guts to show off their figure. But for us, it had been a generational kind of put down. I think it's like a
Yeah.
curse, Marlene. It's like a curse.
Yeah. I think it's like a curse that I would say that the majority of girls growing up, I can't speak on boys because,
We don't
that's not
know.
our sex, but for girls growing up, most girls are never like poured into saying things like you look beautiful, how you are. It's always something like you know, to dissect you and take you, you know, take you apart piece by piece and break down on your self-esteem.
Yeah, but and I don't know if they did it, Marlene, to you know how but back in the day, back in my day, like my kids say, no, but back in the day, in order for you to date someone, you needed the permission of your parents. It was all these things that you had to do, right? In order, and if
Mhm.
your parents said no, you wouldn't date. So I feel that after that changed, where kids will run away, or they became more liberal. I think that they were trying to stop us in a way from doing those things by putting self-doubt. That's how I feel it. That
You know what, personally, I think it is, Nexie, for
mhm.
from my side. I think that my parents put those things into my head because they didn't want me to do anything with the opposite sex. Like
That's what I'm saying.
give me a kind of a complex so that I
Yes,
would be like so uncomfortable, so
you
I would stay
couldn't.
away from
There
them.
you go. That's what I'm trying to say. They were trying to prevent us from going, wild. Girls gone wild, right? And the only way was, I feel, I'm not sure because I wasn't in their heads, but I feel that it was in a way to prevent us from, going in that direction, where they were going to lose control of us, or, we were going to go and get, come home with a pregnancy or something like that. I'm sorry, I don't even know if I can say that on
Oh,
YouTube,
you
but
can. Hmm.
okay, come home with something in addition to us. And I feel that that's why they used to do this thing, so that it wouldn't go to our heads, right? That we were so pretty, that we were so this, that we were so that. That's how I
Yeah,
feel, like, to
yeah,
gain control.
and I don't understand it because most of the time, if we have had this complex, most of the time it's our mother probably had this complex and her mother gave her a complex. So, who is going to stop that cycle to encourage our young ladies and our young gentlemen to feel like, you know, how they look is good enough? When is that cycle going to end? When are we going to start doing more of spreading and pouring into children that, you know, you can look different, you can want different things, but how you look, mommy or daddy or whoever the guardians are pouring into our children's mind that you look good,
Yeah, I
you should
think it.
feel good about yourself.
Yeah, I think the way I look at it is, we're taking on that task, Marlene. We are the ones spreading that for the new generations. We're the ones trying to make sure that they understand that they are beautiful, no matter what size, what gender, what how
Mhm.
short, who you come from, what color. Which now, like I said before, I wish we were colorblind, but it doesn't matter, where what it is that you come from or that you are. You are beautiful in your own skin. So I'm glad that you are bringing up these topics, because I feel like it's up to us, to help, and propel this for the future generations, right? Leave
Yeah.
a positive note on social media, if in any place, but at least leave a positive note here, that it is okay if you feel awkward. Those are awkward years when you're younger. They're weird, but
Very awkward because I just don't understand. Like looking back and thinking about how I used to look. Like my body used to look amazing, and I was like, I used to look so good. I look at my old pictures. I was like, oh my god, and now it's like, huh.
yeah, I saw this picture in a family member's house, of when I think I was 17, maybe 17 and a half. I know, I think I just turned 17, and I have this red polka dot two-piece bikini on, And I remember feeling very uncomfortable wearing that. But looking back at that picture, I'm like, oh my God, look at the body. Look at the flat, beautiful stomach on that on that little young lady.
Yeah.
And then
And you
looking
look
at
at
it, you're not
yourself.
like that anymore.
Yeah. You look at yourself now and you're like, oh, times have changed.
And then my head tells me what had happened was.
Exactly. So, I think this conversation is so important, especially those who are not at the age that we are, um,
Mm-hmm.
in the mature age that we are now, that those who are maybe in their tweens, teens, 20s, um, can appreciate that how I look. I can look at myself. I can be happy with who I am, and all of that is so important that you feed that into your own mind, because if you're not happy with yourself, you will never be happy in your life in general.
Exactly, and that's the thing, though, and it has to be, the mold has to be broken somewhere. And I feel
Mhm.
that, if we can do it, if we can start from today, right, moving forward with this new image, allowing these girls to feel comfortable in their own skin, these boys as well, right? Because like we said, we don't know about boys, but if we can, make a difference in one person so that they don't feel as we felt growing up, then, that's a plus on our end, right?
Yeah, it's
Because
such
we're
a
giving
plus because,
somebody hope.
right. And that's something that I know that in my younger years that I didn't have that sort of people having conversations, especially people who are older than me, being very supportive and saying, love yourself and having confidence and believing in yourself. I think that's so important to look at yourself the way that you are and to receive it and say, this is how I am. And even if other people don't like me, or bully me or try to say I should change something about myself, I'm going to be happy with my own self.
Exactly. You say people, older people, but mostly is we didn't have the people that matter to us, right, Marlene, to tell us that it was okay. The people that whose opinion we valued, who we wanted to impress, who we wanted to see us. We didn't have that type of people in our lives, or those type of people in our lives. So, it's important that even if you don't get it from those people, that you get it from somewhere. But we didn't. There was nobody, whether it mattered to us or not, there was nobody around us that could tell us, don't worry about it. These are the awkward years. You're going to grow out of it. Just love yourself. Don't pay attention. You know what I mean? Because even our siblings sometimes don't take the time to say those things to us. And I feel it's important, that they stop and say, hey, you know what, maybe my sister, if we had older sisters, right, or cousins, maybe she's feeling the way I felt there. But everybody was so into their own lives, into their own mix, that they didn't take the time to say that. And it affects the girls differently. Some maybe it doesn't matter, but to others it does very much.
Yeah, and that's so true that we really have to think about, um we have to think about, when we say things to the younger children, you know I remember growing up, and maybe I was probably in my 20s, and still I remember like my mom looked at me with like such disdain because she didn't like something because of the way, the color or whatever it was, but I still was so affected by it. So it's not like, okay, one day you get to be a certain age and certain key people in your life don't affect you, with your self-esteem and your confidence.
Yeah, you still remember that look, right? That
Yeah,
she
I
gave you
still
that
remember it.
day. Exactly. And those are the things that a lot of people don't understand. You don't need words, Marlene, to be able to convey a negative message on someone. It can be a look, it can be a grunt, it can be a just a side eye, and that thing stays engraved in your memory because that person looked at you that way, and it made you feel so low, right? So little, so ugly. So it doesn't necessarily need words to express those things. It can be just, a look. But unfortunately, a lot of times, even if you voice to these people that you're not that they hurt your feelings, or that you're not comfortable with what they just did, they blame it on you, that you're too into your feelings, that you're the one that is sensitive, that you're the one that has a problem. All they did was looked at you like, why are you so sensitive? So they throw it back at you.
Yes, and that's exactly it. They throw things back in your face.
Yeah, like you
Hi,
don't
Lou.
matter.
Hi, Lulu's treasure trove. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, no, go ahead, Marlene. I
I
was
mean,
done
okay,
already.
okay. Yeah, I just want to welcome everybody who's in. Welcome in, everybody, and joining on this discussion. Back to you next.
No, yeah, for me, it was just, I remember I was going into, I was going to be the flower girl for one of my sister's friend. I was going to be that flower girl in her wedding. And I was so happy, Marlene, because they had put this flower, a garland around it, like this little crown, but it was like hanging, and they had flipped, my hair to the side, and it was so pretty. I mean, I felt so beautiful in that dress. And they had done my hair, and they put a little bit of lipstick, which I was so, excited about, because I had just a little shine, but I was super excited because I had makeup on. And I remember my brother came in as we got ready, right? And he started laughing when he saw me. And I swear to God, Marlene, I didn't want to walk down that aisle anymore. I got so petrified. I think I had like a mini panic attack or something. He started laughing when he saw me, and he pointed at me because of the way, I guess, I was dressed and my hair. So I didn't want to walk down the aisle. My sister had to come over and convince me, and they literally had to drag me out because I didn't want to anymore. I felt like I looked like a clown or something because of what he did. So it is important for us to understand that, it doesn't matter who, even if you don't like what that person is wearing, it is very important that you keep your comments, if they're not good, if they're not productive, if they're not uplifting, keep your comments to yourself. Don't destroy or hurt somebody else's feelings because of the way that you feel in the inside, that it probably has nothing to do with that person. um
Okay, I'm back.
oh, okay. You
Yeah,
okay?
I just, yeah,
Okay, okay, good.
you know how it is.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know if you heard, but just go ahead, take it away, Marlene. Take it away.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that. It's so important for us to work on the body image, and working on our own self-esteem. We can't let our families, our friends, or anybody stop us um, from just being who we are. And even if you try to do things like, how people do the plastic surgery and stuff, it still is not going to change your own confidence.
Exactly. And that's the thing, though. You know, on that day when my brother laughed and hysterically, I felt, and I was, I was little, so it probably didn't hit me the way it will hit someone that it's older and it's already looking into their body, like it's already having like, body image issues. But it bothered me so much, and it hurt my feelings, and I still remember that laugh. I still remember that him pointing at me,
Mm,
and making fun, and I know he probably didn't mean it that way, right? We're siblings, we do things like that. But ever since then, like, I didn't want to walk down. And so now, I, with that in mind, as I'm saying that I was very young, and when he did this and everything, but with that in mind, if you're going to do something to yourself, you make sure that you are working on your inside before you go under any knife, under anything, right? Make sure that what you're about to do is for the right reasons, and that you have thought about it. You have, we're not saying don't do it, right, Marlene? We're not saying that.
mm-mm.
We're just saying, make sure that as you go through life, work on yourself, work on your body image, because at one point or another we have been there. We have been hurt by someone, on something that we wore, something that we, that we liked or whatever. So work on yourself first, and if you decide right after all of that that it is the right thing for you to do, then do it, but do it for the right reasons.
Yeah, and I have to say, I'm so sorry that that happened to you, Nexie, and to anybody in the chat, um, or on the replay. When things happen to us in our childhood or 20s, teens, even into a mature age, we carry it with us. And if we don't, deal with it, it can affect us for many years. So, um, yeah, I'm sorry that people can be so insensitive, and sometimes people think it's very comical to plug jokes at you at your weight, or something about the way that you're shaped or the clothes that you wear. All of it really does affect us, but that's why it's important to have conversations like this, and to let all the ladies and gentlemen know that have a good have a good sense of being about yourself, even if other people may not like the way you look or dress.
Exactly. And like, the thing I always, I did, with, my family is, you educate them, right? You have to make sure that they have a good, self-esteem on them. You educate your boys, be careful on what you say to your sisters. You can hurt them without even thinking. You do the same thing with the girls. Be careful on how you talk to your brother, because that can damage someone, that can hurt someone. You cannot tell them damage because they don't understand what that means. But you can start by educating, your kids, educating the people around you to be careful on how they're treating other, especially, kids, teen, tweens, and because that's when the body image starts developing. So we have to be careful. We have to start, um, communicating, speaking about these topics, not just to our families, older families, but to our kids as well,
Yes.
so that the change
And
can come along. Sorry, go ahead.
right. Yeah, sure. And this comment that Anita highlighted, she says she's gained so much weight because of her meds, and her cousins talk about it so much, and it's annoying. So, you know, don't we it's not just in your tweens, your teens. your mature age, um, it always affects you when somebody takes shots at you.
Mm-hmm.
It always will hurt your feelings, but at the end of the day, it's about what you think about yourself. So you have to constantly keep working on yourself to be okay with the way you look.
And it's true. That is so true, Marlene. And Anita, I was actually, I think I told Marlene this a few weeks ago that I had not seen one of my family members in a minute. And the first thing he said when he saw me, he said, "Whoa, man, you have gotten fat." Not, "Hi, how you doing?
Oh,
I haven't
wow.
seen you in a long time. Man, you have put on some weight. You've gotten fat." And I was like, "It's nice to see you too. You know, wow, you're getting older. You look old." And this person just looked at me like, and he wasn't skinny either. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he wasn't, like, to say, in
Mhm.
perfect shape. And but it wasn't even a hello. It was already that insult. That thing that this our families have in their system. They cannot just say hi, nice to see you.
Negativity.
Negativity. Yeah, there you go. That negativity that they're brought up with, because it's what we were brought up with. It's not something that, it's far fetched. It's like we deal with it every day, one way or another.
Hmm. And it's something that I personally have to pull back because when I see somebody in my family and I may not like something, I have to literally bite my tongue sometimes to not say some things because I'll be like, it's just human nature. I don't like that color, but it's not, we have to stop thinking that things are always about us.
There you go.
And that's something that I'm learning as I'm working on myself, that I have to learn to let other people be happy with themselves and don't try to bring another person down.
Exactly. And you notice that sometimes when you don't say anything, yeah, this person comes back to you and says, "You know what? I don't think this color fits me, or I don't think this cut on this dress or this blouse is good for me." Somebody said something to me, and I think that they probably felt like, it wasn't the right shape or whatever. And it's good because it wasn't you, and they don't feel as hurt because it didn't come from you.
And you know what? Even in that, I still walk a very
I don't
a
say anything
very
really.
fine line. Even if they give me a little bit of room, I'm still
Uh-huh.
not giving enough room to hang myself.
I said, "Really? Oh, wow. But if you like it, that's all it matters, right?" That's what I've learned to say. Hey, as long as you're cool with it, that's all it matters, right? Who doesn't like it, who cares?
Hmm.
Yeah, you don't want to go there.
Yeah, that's one thing that even like I have my little nieces and nephews, and like they'll put on colors that don't match or whatever, and they'll be so happy and say, "You like my outfit, Auntie?" And I'll look at it and I think that they look terrible, and I was like, "Do you like it, baby?" You know, that's what
Oh,
it's about. Do you like it?
did you read that
And if
message, Marlene, that you've
oh,
highlighted?
okay,
I mean,
okay,
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna read it right now. I have
Thank you.
had persons say hateful things like that to me too, and my sister too. Even if it is in a nice voice, it is very hurtful nonetheless.
Hmm.
Yes,
It's true.
it is. It is. It is. It
The
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter even if they say it supposedly in a nice way. When something is not nice,
In the way
and
of truth, right?
mhm, we don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear
No.
it.
And you know what, for me, when if they come back and say, somebody said that maybe this color is not for me, or this, I still don't go there. Like you said,
Mm-mm.
we've learned from experience that you don't go there. You're like, really? But if you like it, then that's all it matters, right? If you like it, even though you say in your head, like, why would you wear that color? It really doesn't go with you, but there's nothing you can do. It's their choice, and you have to respect that. And I feel that sometimes our family members, because they are our family members, they feel entitled. to criticize, to give us an opinion that we haven't asked for, right? And in the same breath, put us down. It's a weird phenomenon.
Yes, it's so weird and it's so rude too. It's so rude. And then when you call them out, they get upset.
Oh, you're so sensitive. You're so into your feelings. That's the one
And
I get all
I
the
was
time.
like, yeah, that's the one that gets on my nerves, but also the ones like, oh, oh, I forgot I have to walk on eggshells around
Yes.
you.
Oh, I forgot. I'm supposed to. I'm talking to a heartache here, and I'm like,
Or yeah,
what?
or yeah, everybody bow to the princess. That's what I used to
Mm,
hear when I was younger, and I hated that. That
mm.
used to make me so mad. I'm not trying to be no princess. I have feelings.
And see, and that's the thing that a lot of them don't understand, that you know words can cut sometimes deeper than any knife or any tool, and they stay with you, sometimes for the rest of your life. And they don't have to say anything. That's the thing that I don't understand, Marlene, is that what is the need for you to say anything? I haven't asked you, right? Your opinion is not what I get up to wonder what it's going to
Hmm.
be every morning. So why is it that there's a need for you to say that?
Right, and it's always the unwarranted ones. I don't understand when somebody is so rude to you, why they get mad when you say that's not nice or whatever it is. I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times our family, they feel like they should get a completely different treatment than everybody else. They should be able to say and do anything to us, and we should just allow them to do and say whatever they want.
Yeah, and then you say, who's the sensitive now? I thought I was the sensitive, because they cannot take anything. Like, they want you to take it. And this is the thing, though. I always tell people, you have to be very careful around kids, what you say around them, and even little ones, of course, but mostly, you know the ones that are already in that developing stage, right? Whether it's a boy or a girl, that are in that age, that is very detrimental for you to say good things, to give them positive things, because they're in the borderline of insanity at that particular time, because their hormones are all over the place. So, you know, the damage caused by unrequired opinions or unrequired comments, or um, they go further on in their lives than you will ever know.
Yeah. And that's why I say all the time, you never know what somebody is going through. Um, I can say for myself without sharing too much because I'm going to go into that more in members only deeper about, the things that I was dealing with. But um, when somebody would say something to me, I was at a point in my life where I really, because if you're not getting poured into, you know, telling you that that you're beautiful, you're intelligent, and all of those things that you need so desperately during those times when you're pretty vulnerable, you you kind of like any little thing that happens, it's like you're ready to throw in the towel, be like, okay, I don't want to try anymore. I'm done with
Mm-hmm.
life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the state of mind is very important to maintain a good state of mind on on kids, because then we go into, right, adulthood with those, with all that hurt, all that pain, and we drag it on until, if we don't work on ourselves, all of our lives. So yeah, we will go more in depth as well, on the things that I had to face too, because sometimes it doesn't go away as you get older. It becomes more. impactful and prominent as you get older. That's how I feel.
I feel as I'm getting older, I feel like I'm even more sensitive now than I was when I was a tween,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like all of it's like a culmination of every single issue that you've had, and it's like it's all building up until one day, like somebody just pulls the draw sheet, or pulls the rug from underneath you. It's like a stack of cards,
Mm-hmm.
and you just but you have to have these type of conversations to help you.
Yeah, you do. You have to talk about these issues because it doesn't stop. Like we continue to say here, so people can understand. Because I have a feeling that you say it once and it doesn't register. People need to understand this. The body image of a child, boy or girl, or a teen tween, it's important to them. It's important form of development. So the more you focus on the negativity of it, that's exactly what they're going to go on moving forward. So it is important to talk over and over and over and over how we can improve our communication when it comes to our deliverance of messages towards these kids. We have to be
Mhm.
very careful with our words. We have to make sure that if my father always said, if nothing nice is going to come out of your mouth, then be quiet, don't say anything at all. And
Exactly.
that is so true. That is so true. I always like, what do you mean?
Hmm.
But I want to
And,
talk.
right. And exactly. And it goes into the mature ages, like, you know, around the age of between 30 and 50, when you're in that midlife kind of crisis where everything is changing in your body again. Like everything is either slowing down to stop or has already stopped.
Mm,
And
mm-hmm.
now you have a whole bunch of other issues now that you're dealing with. Did you get all of the things that you wanted in your life? And it's
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 a
a lot,
lot.
but yeah, body image goes into way more, mentally and psychologically than just how somebody looks on the outside.
Yeah.
It's also about, the thought processes too.
Yeah, it goes deeper, more into than we will ever know. That's the whole point. Is that we say things sometimes, or look at people, or things like that, and it damages more than we will ever know, because every person is different. Like I said, as it won't matter to somebody else, it matters to the person that is closest to you, that you're telling. Some people don't take it into heart, so they don't care, but there's some of us that do, and stays with us, for the rest of our lives. And as you said, when you hit that 50 mark, right, everything slows down, your body changes in drastic ways, and all of these things that were back there in the back of your mind, when you were younger, they come back, they resurface. And all of those things that they said to you are the things that you're looking at in the mirror about. Like, oh my God, look at my belly. Oh my God, look at this. Oh my God, look at that. So we have to be very careful, on how we talk. We have to be careful on, even if you see your child going through something, you have to be very careful on how you word, and try to rescue, get help from a professional if you see anything going on in your kids, as their body is changing. Make sure that you get professional help, so that you can
Hmm.
learn how to talk to them, so that you as a parent won't damage them as well.
Right. Yeah, and you can't say things like, "Oh, you shouldn't think that way," or "You shouldn't try to change anything about yourself." You're not living in their body and having their experiences, so we can't comment on another person, how they're feeling and processing things, because that's what I went through growing up. Everybody used to always say, "You look, how you look, you look nice," and all these things, but I didn't believe that.
Mm-hmm.
So the same thing can apply to another person. And as we age, to another person, you could look at somebody and say they look amazing, but they may not be feeling that way because of something they're going through, especially, a woman that with the body changes, and also with men as
Mm-hmm.
they age and get older. Your bodies, the hormones, everything is not balanced anymore. So both genders are going through lots of things and lots of changes, and your body changes, and also your thinking, and lots of other issues. Everything that you didn't deal with, it comes all on you in your mature age too as well.
Yeah, it does, and that's the thing, is which is what I'm telling you. You go back to that, the teenage or the teenage girl that was in front of that mirror. I don't know about boys because we don't have their side of the story, right? But for us girls, you go back to that little girl who was told, you were too skinny, you were too short, you were too fat, you were too this, you were too that. um, it, it doesn't leave you, and you have to work on yourself for that to be something of the past. Otherwise, it stays with you forever. And as you get older, your body, your changes, your hormonal changes are pretty much, they go pretty much to the same thing as when you were a teen.
Yes, it does. And that's why it's so important as we age to have good systems in place of support, that people who really will pour into us, like people who genuinely, you can genuinely respect their opinions, that they're not just saying it to you, that they, you can say how you feel without feeling judged.
Mm, too emotional. You're too emotional. It's not a big deal, right? I hate when they say that. You're too emotional. What's the big deal? It is a big deal to me, which is why I'm voicing it, right? It's why I'm telling you that I don't like when you say those things. But people always say that, what's the big deal? We need to take into consideration that the person that is voicing that concern or that pain or that whatever it is that they're voicing out, it's a big deal to them. We have to listen.
Right? Everybody's opinion matters. And that's something that we all have to learn to appreciate the opinions of another person.
It's yeah, exactly, like the same way we want others to take into consideration what we have to say, right? What our opinion is, what we're going through, the same way that we want others to take those feelings and those concerns into consideration. We have to put ourselves in their shoes as well. We cannot just disrespect people or clown people and expect them to continue to be in our lives the same way as before we did those things. So we have to be mindful of the way we treat them, and of our words.
Right. And I can say too that, speaking honestly from a female perspective, I don't know what it's like to be a male and the things that a male goes through. But, ladies too, consider that your brother, spouse, boyfriend, whoever, males in your life, that they go through things too. So you don't want to say things to them that you wouldn't like to say, like, "Oh, what's going on with your hair?" or look at your stomach and laugh too. It goes both ways. Just as we want to be considered, ladies, also think about how other men want to be considered, and be sensitive to their body image as well.
Exactly, and that's the thing, though. I don't understand, what the deal is. Like if we're getting older, of course we're gonna change, right? But if the way, like you said, if I'm sensitive about certain things, even though that person is a male, I'm sure that he might have gone through some things as well and will be sensitive too. And we wouldn't want that person to come back and say some things like that to us. So we have to be careful on how we treat them because we want to be treated the same way.
Yeah. And that's the biggest issue because being honest, I never was thinking about how I was talking of, to my brothers, nephews, because we tend to think that men aren't emotional, but men have emotions too.
Yeah, it's true. And I I feel that most of the time these are learned behaviors, right? These are negative learned behaviors from, from our parents, from our extended family, that sometimes we are so wrapped up in us that we forget that the opposite sex also has feelings, right? Or that they can react even if they don't say a word to us, that they can still be hurt the same way that we get hurt. um the difference there is that, since we don't have, we don't know their feelings, we don't have, what their upbringing, or their background, or their hormones, or whatever they did. We don't have what they have, so we cannot relate to that. But we can relate enough to say, hey, if this makes me self-conscious, then that means that person can feel the same way. He may not say it, but he may feel. So we have to break this generational curses of always trying to look at the imperfections on others. I think that instead of focusing on those things, we need to focus on what makes them who they are, how fun they are when how much fun we have when we're around them, how beautiful of a person that person is in the inside, and it radiates to the outside. So let's focus on more positive, things, and let's stop focusing on skin colors, body shapes, and any of those things that don't matter at the end.
Mhm. Yeah, and this is a mature conversation. It takes those who are there. You have to be mature and in that space to take this in, because until you get there and you understand how important it is to have conversations like this, to communicate the things that you're dealing with, and learning to respect boundaries with yourself and others, you can't give that to another person.
That is true. That is true. And Lulu, I don't know. I was reading the chat a little bit, Marlene. I don't know what you are going through or anything, but I am grateful too that you are here, that you're alive. I'm very, very, very grateful, very thankful that you're here with us today. Like I said, I don't know what you're going through, but you are in our prayers.
Exactly. And this sip and chat is all about that.
Hmm.
I think that's the reason, that's what was the driving force, because I don't know if everybody knows, but this channel used to be a mukbang or a haul channel, and it just didn't resonate on my spirit. I always felt like I'm not using my platform, but I didn't know what to do. And I was getting the views, but for me it had to be about, I'd rather get very small views and get my message across to the right people who needs to hear it, like these conversations. So I rather have, 20 to 30 views and it affect 20 and 30 lives than to have 500 people who watch just to giggle for a little bit, and then there was like nothing that was learned.
Hmm. That
That's
is
just
true, and
that's just my thinking.
I'm glad that you're that we're doing this. That we're talking about issues that sometimes are very uncomfortable, right, Marlene? There's something that you don't want to dig into. You feel uncomfortable going through it, but that are necessary because we're not the only ones that have gone through it or are going through it. So I
It-
feel that it's a good think that you changed it.
Yeah. And I feel like even though I have other channels, honestly, I feel like this channel is my most vulnerable. I feel I feel some type of way every time before I go live. I'm like, "Oh my goodness, what
Oh,
am I going to say today?" Ah, like I'm clenching
you
my
know that.
teeth.
Yeah, I feel like, that dream that you feel that you're walking without anything on, that you wake
Yes.
up and you're like in bed. Okay, I'm in bed. Yeah, that's how I feel when we're gonna do. Like I'm gonna peel the layers off, and like I
Yes.
said, these are things that are not that we're still working on, right? Because as we have
Mhm.
said before, Marlene, you and I have said this, we're work in progresses. We're not done with ourselves, we work on ourselves on a daily basis to become a better version of us, as we should do, right? So
Yeah.
peeling these layers off, it takes you back to 12, 13, 14, high school, junior high, whatever it was that you were at that point, and it brings you back to the state of mind, and it's hurtful, still painful.
Yeah. It's still painful. So I just wanted to, have this conversation. I'm not going to keep you, ladies and gentlemen, much longer, but I definitely wanted to have this conversation and to spread some, body positivity, self awareness, and learning about boundaries with both sexes. Ladies and gentlemen, we all have. We all have like the confidence issues. We all have the feelings of worthlessness from time to time, but we all can both work on the things that we say out of our mouth can be something to encourage more positivity to both sexes and also especially to our youth.
Exactly, Marlene. We both have feelings. We females may express them more than males do, but they still have feelings. So if you feel hurt when somebody says something negative about you or has said anything negative about you, just remember, put yourself in that emotional state, and now look at who you have ever, of the opposite sex, had said something negative about. Put yourself in their shoes as well. I know we voice more our likes and dislikes than they do. That doesn't mean that they don't get hurt. They do. So let's be
Right.
careful with the words that come out of our mouth, for anyone. My father always said, if you have nothing nice to say, then you should say nothing at all. Your mouth should remain closed. And that's the way I remember it. That's the way I keep them if I know that there's nothing positive coming out of it.
Right, right. And I feel like this conversation has been so honest and so necessary because each and every person has been through something. Every single person has had people who have said things to them that has been very insensitive. And we wouldn't want to cause another person to have some scarring. So a lot of times before you say something out of your mouth to somebody else, think, would I want somebody to say this to me?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Would
So
I punch them in the face? Yeah, no. If
yeah.
they said that to me, no, and it's true. And the one thing that I always, I tell the people that, I'm around is, remember, you're saying it to your teenager, your tween, your teen, your 20-year-old, but this person is going to become a mother one day, right?
Mhm,
So why wouldn't you put positivity so that she can the same thing on her children?
mhm.
They don't stay that age. We continue to grow and evolve and have kids. So whatever we want our future generations to if we want them to be better, we need to start with us. We need to start to control our tongue. Don't say anything that is unnecessary.
Eh,
Just make sure that everything you spill out of your mouth is something positive for someone.
right. And it's something that we have to work on because it doesn't come naturally usually to
Mm-mm.
most of us. We as soon as we think something, we think, oh, just say it. And we think, oh, other people are too sensitive or they're too this or they're too that. But when it comes to us, we want people to treat us with kid gloves.
Exactly, and that's the thing though, everything that you want to receive, and it's like I said, it's a generational curse. It's something that we grew up with, right? So why continue to pass on something that kills the human spirit? Just break it, work on yourself. Try not to be like, your aunt, your mom, your dad, your cousins, your uncle. Try to be totally different than these people, because you want to change that. You want to break that mold. You really want to break that mold.
Right. And I think it's about breaking generational curses because when I was growing up, it was just a generation. My parents were from the Great Depression era.
Mm-hmm.
And they just were only focused on just surviving,
Yep.
having a roof over their head and having food to eat. That was their only focus. So things like communication and all of these things and how they're doing and body positivity and all of those other things, they didn't think about those things. Anything they thought, they just spew right out of their mouth. Where we don't want to be that, we don't want to be like past generations. We want to mature. We want to
Mm-hmm.
see the things that maybe we endured. We don't want to give to another generation. Maybe if it's not your children, maybe your nieces and your nephews, your cousins. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Encourage them to have a good image of themselves. Tell them that they look nice and you know, put that confidence within them, and then we will help future generations to not have as much scarring as we have had.
There you go. There you go. Exactly, Marlene. I could have not said that better myself. Everything that you want in life, if you want a positive and a good family, you have to begin by fixing and patching those little scars or those huge scars you have from your family. Now, evaluate. There's some good things our families, right? Our ancestors have left us, different dishes, different this, different that. But even those, if you notice, Marlene, um, just in the cooking area, right? We kind of focus on this right now because it's important. Even that, the certain dishes are better with, let's say Crisco, right? But that that's not good for your system. So you change it, right? You put oil and it came out best way. It came out even better than when you put Crisco in it. So the same way that they leave us with all these different, dishes and recipes and stuff, and we can still change the ingredients and have the best result, then that's the same way we're going to look at what they have given us in the past. If negativity is what they gave us, then guess what? We're going to change that ingredient and turn it into something very positive for the best outcome of our families going forward. And you
Right.
break that, you know generational curse of the body image, which I always ask, what is it according to you? What is the best body image? Why do you keep on
Mhm.
criticizing, right?
Right. But a lot of times I always say, this conversation and talking about body image, a lot of times the ones that reject us for our body image, they usually have had someone criticize them for theirs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like hurt people hurt people. So because they've been hurt, they're broken and they haven't done anything to work on their own self. So of course another generation is scarred. So we don't want to do that. We want to be better than the past.
There you go. And Marlene, when people say that to me, I don't know if you think the same way I do, but when people say something hurtful to me and I said, why would you say that? They said it to me and I'm okay. And I think in my mind, I think, if you say you're okay, then you're even more broken than I am, because that's not okay. How can you be okay with that?
Hmm.
I don't know if you say that to people,
Yeah.
but I find myself saying, and you're okay with this, then you're broken.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, what comes through my mind when somebody says that happened to me and I went through it, and I said, but think about all the pain, think
Mm.
about all the pain that you had to do, and you're not okay. A lot of times we tell ourselves things like we're okay because you feel like you have no other choice but to cope with it.
Hmm. Yeah, and
Hmm.
the fact that look, it happened to me, but I'm okay. The fact that you say that tells me that you're not okay.
Hmm.
That there's something wrong with you.
Yeah. And
That's the way I take it.
and a lot of things that happen to us, it caused us to have a lot of scars that I look forward to talking about, some of the maybe the scars that we have had to deal with from the past, and how to cope and deal with that. So I look forward to on the next sip and chat talking about that. So
Okay.
thank you so much, Nexie.
Oh, thank you for having me, Marlene. And thank you, everybody in the chat, for all of your comments and for coming and sipping and chatting with us. It's a pleasure to have you guys here. And it's a pleasure for you to have me on your platform, Marlene. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nexie, and everybody in the chat. Thank you all so much. And those who are watching in the replay, I appreciate you so much. And I hope that this conversation is something that maybe you can, pay it forward and make changes in yourself, in your family, for healthier communication, positive support, in building confidence not only in yourself, but in everybody that you meet. Thank you so much for tuning in to Love Marlene 411. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. Leave me a comment in the comment section. And don't forget to share this out with somebody who you think will enjoy it. And I will see you guys on the next Sip and Chat. Thank you all so much.